Right. Moving on to Paladin. Uh, Paladin didn't get a lot of fantastic cards. I think these cards are okay, but let's look into them in more depth. Ivory Knight. Ivory Knight is a 6 mana 4/4. Discover a spell, restore health to your hero equal to its cost. So it's a pretty interesting effect. We never had an effect like this before, where something happens based on the mana of the discovered card. So you play this card. If you really need a big heal, you might pick anything can happen for a 10 heal, even if you have no Murlocs in your deck, just because you need the big heal. But I just don't think this card is good enough. The stats are very, very poor. The distribution of the stats is very poor. I think if it was a 6/2, it would actually be better, because it's just a more aggressive stat line. At a 4/4 stat line, it trades very poorly with a lot of cards at the high mana cost. It doesn't have an immediate impact on the board, because 4/4 is just not a big impact on the board. It's not a taunt. And also the Discover effect is weakened because of the additional text. So the reason why Discover is so powerful, firstly, is because it's flexible, but secondly, because it means your opponent can't predict what card you have. So as the meta progresses, decks become more and more standardized. People can predict what cards you're going to play on every single mana cost, and therefore it makes you more predictable and easier to play against. The Discover mechanic completely throws that out the window, because you've got 3 random cards you could choose from, and so you could really have any card at all, and your opponent can't play around every single one. So that's why Discover is so powerful. However, because you're restoring health to your hero equal to the cost of the card, it narrows down the pool of cards that you could have significantly. Like if you have a if you heal for 10, they know, okay, he's got anything can happen, right? It's just like guaranteed. If you heal for 1, then they know, okay, he's probably got like some dumb secret or something, right? And that brings me on to my next point, is that Paladin has too many 1 mana secrets to make this card consistent healing. I think the only deck that this would ever see playing is some kind of control, maybe in the Zoth Paladin. But in that deck, you really want consistent healing. You want the Forbidden Healing, which heals you for 20 if you do it at 10 mana, or a Reno to heal you to full. This card is just too inconsistent. The Discover mechanic is too random, and it's weakened by the extra text. The stat distribution is not good. Definitely won't see play in any other Paladin except a Control Paladin, and even then, pretty marginal. In Arena, pretty terrible card. You don't want to be healing with this. You don't want to be discovering spells. The stat distribution is terrible. I think it's just a pretty bad card. I think people are giving this card too much credit. It's a bad card. The next is 4 mana Silver Moon Portal. Give a minion +2/+2. Summon a random 2-cost minion. So, as you know, a random 2-cost minion can be very varied. As we know this from the piloted Shredder days. Anything from Lore Walker Cho to Nat Pagal to Millhouse, Mana Storm. The 2-cost minion, the 2-cost slot is crazy. Doomsayer, right, for example. Doomsayer is like a disastrous one most of the time, especially as a Paladin where you rely on board. and giving a minion +2/+2. How significant is that? I just don't think it's that significant in the 4 mana slot. So in the 3 mana slot, we're going to probably play the Nightbane Templar, which we got on the right here. I'll come on to that in a minute, but if you bust this to like a 4/5, like a Yeti, then you're taking up your whole turn to do that, and you summon a 2-cost minion, and then sometimes you get like Doomsayer and just lose the game on the spot. You're also looking at the 4 mana slot in Paladin being extremely saturated. So we talked earlier about the Hunter power slot being 3. In Paladin, the power slot is 4. You got your True Silver Champion, you've got your Keeper of Uldaman, you've got your Blessing of Kings, you've got your Consecrate. So it's competing with a lot of cards in a mid-range style deck, which I think would be the only deck that you would play this kind of card. And there are just better cards out there that do the same thing. Blessing of Kings is a better buff. True Silver is better removal if you need to remove a thing. Consecrate gives you more tempo if you're playing against an aggro deck. So I don't see this card seeing any play at all it's just not big enough impact, and the random 2-cost spinning is too much risk to see high level constructed play. But this last card is actually very exciting. Nightbane Templar, Battlecry. If you're holding a dragon, summon 2 1/1 whelp. So this is a Doctor Dragon, Doctor 3. Because you're getting a big body with 2 1/1 bodies. But how important? So it's kind of like, you can think of it like Razorfen Hunter. So Razorfen Hunter obviously doesn't see any play. Terrible card. But the reason why it's terrible is that if you remove the 1/1, which is very easy to do, to remove 1/1/1, then you're only left with a 2/3 body. But if you're summoning 2 1/1 whelps, you're getting, even if they remove 1/1/1, which is easy with the ping, you're still getting 3/4 with the stats, which is good. And it's split across 2 bodies, which gives you some flexibility with how you buff on turn 4 with your Blessing of Kings. So I think this card is very good. I think it might make Dragon Paladin a thing, and because Muster for Battle is no longer in the set, this is not really competing with anything in the 3-mana slot. At the moment in Paladin, the best 3-mana card is probably Aldor Peacekeeper, but even that is kind of a questionable on-curve 3-drop, so I think Nightbane Templar will see a lot of play in Dragon Paladin if Dragon Paladin is sustainable, and I think this is a very good card. It's basically Muster for dragons. Good card in a mana slot which is not competing for much space, so yeah, definitely see a lot of play. Oh, okay.